Hello and welcome to another edition of Punters Inside Run. Again, Group 1 racing in both Queensland and Adelaide, and also some terrific racing at Flemington and Rosehill in Victoria and in New South Wales. As always, I'm joined by James Lamb from punters.com.au and Mick Sharkie.
Hey, Matty.
Gents, how are you?
The rose between two beards here. What's going on with the facial? I feel like I've been left out. I should have a little goatee or something.
You look good with the goatee. With all the gear, all that functions and all that stuff you go to, that weird sort of bands that you go see. I don't believe you don't have a goatee.
Just a little sort of ziff under the lip or something like that.
Flavor saver?
No, well, it's a bit. I feel left out.
What gig's your next gig?
I just came off Regurgitator and the Wu-Tang Clan last weekend, so that was two very different bands, but I'll have to go and see something soon. I'm trying to go to Dom Dollar, but that's not till the end of the year.
Stay tuned for Shark's some tweets about some of the weird stuff that he goes to see. But we're here to talk racing, and we are almost rinse and repeat from last week, aren't we? A Group 1 race in Brisbane, we'll start with that, the Doomben Cup. Last week we sat here for the Doomben 10,000. We all agreed that Giga Kick would win. It did. The horse he beat in the all-age stake, Zaaki. We all sort of sit in a similar sort of position here. Zaaki's the horse to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't a huge margin last time, but he was sort of 3 and 4 wide for the first 500 metres. So he had to do it the hard way. I think this is an even better setup for him here. He comes across with Numerian, probably sits outside the leader or goes to the front. 1800 to 2000, third up. He's hard to tip against, Matty.
Outside of that, I mean, we've seen, he lost last year. What are the main dangers to Zaaki here?
I think there's a group of them around Zaaki that are probably good enough to cause an upset if the good horse is off his game. Horses like Numerian who'll go forward and he can run a really cheeky race. He's run well at the Queensland Carnival in the past. Huetor, Zayrek, who chased him home last time, and then down the bottom, the 3-year-old.
The 3-year-old Kovalica steps up. How good is Kovalica?
Well, I think he's pretty good.
Yeah.
You go back and he's put a string of wins together. You look at those horses that he's been beating. They're not exactly throwing forward out of that grade, are they, Lammy? They're around the mark at 3-year-old grade in Queensland, but there's not a horse there that you say, oh, look, it stepped up and went to a insert good race here. He's a real unknown, I think, at this level.
Coming off a foot abscess too, you don't really want to see any sort of setback when you're coming up against a horse like Zaaki, and drawn poorly as well. We're spotting Zaaki at fair start.
All right, who'd you land with your top three? With Zaaki on top, we know that.
Yeah, Zaaki on top. He's 6 starts in Queensland for 5 wins, and the one that he lost was when he was coming off that prep where he won the All-Star Mile and was huge in the Queen Elizabeth on a heavy 10. So you can excuse that one loss. I think Zayrek, good behind Zaaki last start. I thought probably had his chance to beat Zaaki, but maps well again from barrier 2 just off the speed. And Nonconformist is a horse I've thrown in there. He's a hard one to catch. You can really mix it up. But on his best form, he's actually beaten Zaaki over 2,000 metres. So Nonconformist in for third, but I think it's Zaaki's race to lose.
Shark?
I think the prospect of a wet track, there's some sunny days ahead, but the track was heavy on acceptances. So you'd think it'd be around that soft 6 range by the time the sun's done its job. We know Zaaki loves to sting out, so he's on top for me. Numerian, I think, is a real lively chance to either beat him or run a massive race. Just missed in the Australian Cup 2 starts ago. I'm putting Kovalica in for third. I think he'll run a massive race. He may not win, but I think he'll be storming home and just asserting himself before the Derby.
I use the word storming home as well for Kovalica. I'm the same with you for third, Zaaki on top. I've got a tissue in for second. Mm-hmm. I think excellent win in Queen of the Turf. Just got back a bit too far on the Hollandale, like now at 2,000. I'll watch out for some tweets. Nash Ruella takes the ride, so a tissue for me. All right, we get to the Goodwood Group 1 worth $500,000 over the 1,200. Lofty Strike has supreme form around the Oakley Plate and the Newmarket runner-up in both. That's the best form for this race.
Oh, by a mile. You go through the field and you look for, genuine Group 1 horses that are competitive against, I wish I win, the best sprinters in the land. And Lofty Strike is the obvious one and potentially the only one, I think. It's just the only query is whether this is sort of a bit of an afterthought coming off that TJ run, which was his worst run for the campaign. His recent jump out didn't tell us anything at all. It was inconclusive, but if he's anywhere near right to go, 54 kilos, highest rated horse in the race, he should blow them away.
Let's get straight to your top three.
Lofty Strike, going to take the punt on the genuine Group 1 horse. Front page I've got for second, was huge in the Wagatown Plate last time with 61 kilos, and I've got Zapateo drawn the car park. It'd be a huge win if it does get up from there, but it's flying at the moment.
Top three?
Lofty Strike clearly on top. If it gets down beyond a soft 5, I'd be a little concerned because he isn't as good on a wet track, but anywhere that good forward, a soft 5, I think he wins. Kalos number 4, since they gelded this horse.
3 for 3.
He's 3 for 3. It's the obvious danger. Front page next best. He's the best speed horse and he'll go a long way.
I've got the favourite on top, Lofty Strike, from another award who's got Jason Holder riding at the moment, who is absolutely on fire. And I've got Kalos, as Shark mentioned, in great form at the moment since being gelded. Hasn't won at 1200, but will hit the line well. All right, that's our Group 1 racing in both South Australia and Queensland. Next up, we'll take a look at Flemington and Rosehill.
You know it's a better betting app when you've got stats and insights for every major game and race. Plus expert opinions from the best minds in the game, all in the palm of your hand. That's better. Chances are you're about to lose.
All right, this is Punters Inside Run. We're looking at Flemington and Rosehill. Our man for Flemington, as always, is James Lamb. Your thoughts on the meeting?
Yeah, not a bad card, Matty. A couple of my best bets come up early, so hopefully we can strike in the first 4 races.
I think we're around the mark. I reckon that the place to play is early. Where did you land for your best?
Race 3, number 9, Sai, 1100 metre race down the straight. It's first up here, 3 from 3, went fresh. Jump out was quite good. Last start, she was beating a nose over this route behind Jungle Jim, who has form around the Jumbuck, who's a horse who's been absolutely flying down the Flemington Straight this year. So the Jumbuck form looks, terrific for a benchmark 70 here, and gets down to 57 kilos from 60 thanks to Lafferty's claim and barrier 11. I think they'll go middle or outside down the straight on Saturday. So pretty keen on Sai around the $3 mark.
And your next best and your value?
Yeah, race 8, number 6, Keats for my next best. I think he just goes straight to the front from barrier 2. Will run along. There doesn't look to be a whole lot of pressure, nothing to sort of pester him up the front. So I think Keats is going to be hard to run down with that gun stock form. It took a good one to beat him last time. And best value, race 2, number 9, Vagrant, around the $14 mark. Grey River is the horse to beat. It's been hammered in betting early. I'm just hoping that Grey River has to do a bit of work to get across from that wide gate, and it sets it up for a horse like Vagrant, who generally slow away but has a big finish on her day and was beaten just 3 lengths in the Group 2 Edward Manifold last campaign.
I'm hoping Vagrant goes missing because I've gone with Grey River. I couldn't help it. I've gone with Grey River as my best bet. I mean, you talk about covering ground. I covered a heap of ground in the Tobin Bronze, yet still missed by just over a length. Has serious form around. It split Rosetta and See You in Heaven in a listed race last time 3rd up. This is a benchmark 78. Great stats on a soft track, and a 1400 is a big tick. My value bet comes up in race 1, number 5, Victory Command. A lot of horses come out of the same race behind La Zebra. Reckon this colt hit the line as good as any. Suited up to the 1400, a little weight turnaround on the favourite, and I reckon Flemington might help Victory Command. So that's my value bet at Flemington. Shark. Now, last week when we talked about Scone, we talked about how hard the back end of the day was at Scone.
Diabolical.
Rosehill's worse.
It is worse. Yeah, it's
every race is $7 to field.
It's very bad, very bad. But it means our best bet, we can get a little each way price about it.
Tell us about your best bet.
Well, my best is race 9, number 10, Navajo Peak. Matty.
Yes.
Had no luck at all, Lammy. Its last couple of won early this prep at Doomben. It was a really dominant win. Went to Rosehill, was so wide, like 4 wide the trip, and kept finding the line. It was super brave. Gosford last time, similar story. No luck at all in running. I think Navajo Peak from barrier 1 will have absolutely no excuses this weekend. I think it's around $6 or $7. So absolutely worth having a bet.
And where else are we playing at Rosehill?
The second is race 8, number 12, the next best, Substantial.
So you're playing in all these hard races. I thought Substantial was a good bet.
You know me, I like a challenge. And he's drawn well. He's taken some time to get race fit. Jump outs or trials were really good going into this prep. First 2 runs were just better last time running second. I think he can win this. And the best value, I think, race 6, number 3, Peshmerga. Now, she's been racing in...
Do you buy that at a butcher?
I think you can. Well, you can get an ointment for it. I'm pretty positive about that. But she was running in Germany and France, came to Australia, ran a really nice race this distance at Rosehill on a heavy track. I think she probably will go a bit better on better ground. This race will throw her forward to something at 2,000, but I reckon she'll run a good race at a big price.
A kilo of sausages and some of that ointment, please, Mr. Butcher Man. My best is race 5, number 2, Tradition. It's had 2 runs back from a spell. Hasn't been that far away on tracks that don't really suit. Gets onto a firmer surface now. 3rd up gets out to 2,000 metres. Both the wins for Tradition have been over the 1,900. So last up, time 3rd up, won by 6 lengths. And my value bet is in race number 2, I See Things. I'm not talking dead people. It's a midway, I know, but hasn't been far away from a win and came from last to finish 3rd at Gosford. So now the firmer track also suits for Tradition. So that's a pretty tough day. And we're going to look out for socials for your perm.
Yes, absolutely.
Scratching last week.
Scratching last week didn't help. So just upset the apple cart, but we got it the week before. So I've got a feeling, Lammy. I think this week we'll nail it.
So I go in?
So I go in?
No.
No, okay. It's all right.
I've left it out.
Sorry.
I've left it out.
That's it. Thank you,
Set up
James.
beautifully, didn't it?
Matty.
Thank you, Shark. All right, that's it for our best bets at Flemington and Rosehill. Good luck if you're having a punt on the weekend. Keep an eye on our socials, in particular for Shark's multi, because it is going well, and we'll throw the quaddie in there as well.
You know it's a better betting app when you've got stats and insights for every major game and race. Plus expert opinions from the best minds in the game, all in the palm of your hand. That's better. Chances are you're about to lose.